Rates are up and they seem to be staying there. What are you doing to help your clients move through that obstacle and into homeownership? What's happening? J.C. Agajanian here, broker associate with the Whissel Realty Group, bringing you another breakdown of the Fast Forward Movement Monday Morning Mastermind. Today we've got three great topics. Our first topic today is surrounding the concept of building community relationships online with groups and your social media. So first things first, be aware of what your goal is, what you're trying to accomplish, and which platform is really going to be best to accomplish what you're trying to do. When it comes to creating groups on Facebook specifically, consider a subgroup to avoid just tons of noise and clutter. You don't want to overshoot and have a group that becomes too large because it will be a real bear to monitor and manage. An example of kind of a subgroup would be either a relocation group, maybe focused on people coming and going from your area, or a simple homes for sale, kind of a coming soon type of page could be good, although that's a little dicey with the clear cooperation policy being in effect. You could think about an investment group or a mom's group or a hiking group. You can come up with something that is geographically targeted to your specific area with another primary focus, not just real estate in general. That's been the overwhelming feedback we've received from people having success in this area, is a more targeted, specific type of group within your area. Another thing you can do is think about the most common destination or source location from people moving in and out of your area, and build a group surrounding other agents that might be great referral partners. And then you can just send business back and forth to them all the time. You could also have a group like that focused on people in another area that commonly come to your area, and create a group focused on that part of town moving here and all the benefits and the differences and the logistics and all the missing pieces and parts, helping people make this transition. Like I said before, you have to manage these groups and even micromanage them so that other agents don't take your group over, or so that the topics stay relevant, and more importantly, so that you can actually make meaningful communications and contacts with people that are joining the group. If you're not just strictly looking at groups online, YouTube is a phenomenal way to build not just your brand, but also an audience so that they can be familiar with you even if they don't know you yet. We've heard countless stories of people talking to agents and saying, I saw you do this video online, it seemed interesting or helpful or whatever the case may be, so I figured I might talk to you, right? That's a great way to build familiarity and kind of the beginnings of a relationship before you even have one. It really talks to the power of video in general. Of course, once you've gone through the effort of doing this type of video production, you share it everywhere. You can put it on your personal page, you can put it into a group, you can break it up and make shorts out of it, you can do a lot with it. Building your brand, using YouTube as a platform to help grow into other platforms as well is a great strategy you can use. In the end though, we have to remember that whether we are generating leads or simply making initial contacts and relationships with people, the fortune is in the follow-up. That phrase gets really old, but it is so true that we have to keep repeating it. If you simply make contact with somebody and find out that maybe 6 months, a year and a half from now, they're going to do something, you've got to have strategies in place to help you stay in front of that person with the right amount of time without being pushy and annoying, but still enriching that relationship, and that is what we call follow-up, so don't forget about that. Like any platform or social media or YouTube page, whatever it is you're going to use, authenticity is huge. You've got to figure out who your audience is. Which platforms are they already using? For example, if you're working with a generally little bit of an older segment of the population, Facebook's probably a good call for that. If you're looking for that same segment, moving towards TikTok might not be your best move. On the topic of groups, don't forget that there's always an opportunity for you to get involved with other people's existing groups. You do not have to go out and create your own, and in a lot of markets, certainly like ours and like so many other markets where there's a live and thriving competition amongst agents, there's going to be a lot of groups that are there already. But don't worry about that. Like I said, you can get involved, you can contribute on a regular basis, you can block this time out and make it regular so that you are always being seen as the person with solutions and answers to questions being raised in the group, or simply bringing up cool things to do in town. But you're not necessarily waving that real estate flag and, trying to advertise yourself and put your brand out there all the time. The point is to make contacts and have solid interactions. And if you do that, you should feel free to go ahead and add them as your friend from that point going forward. And little by little, you can grow your personal contact base with people that you might not have ever had a chance to meet otherwise. And now they're going to be seeing the normal things that you're putting out on a regular basis because they're now in your ecosystem. Thinking and talking about this topic also brings up a fantastic opportunity. Why not go through and audit your social media page? If all you see on your page that you are publishing content to all the time is for sale, just listed, open houses, check this out, how great I am, etc., your engagement's going to fall off a cliff. We have to keep our primary accounts active, personal, and genuine, being careful to regularly mix in the real estate related content that we want to put out there with what is going on in our actual lives and sharing who we are. And that's also going to create more magnetism and engagement, right? People are not interested in fluff, in marketing. They want to know who you are. They're happy to see that you've done well and sold a home, or that you've got a great opportunity that other people might not know about, but only if they also see who you are, what you're doing, what's happening in your life, and they can actually feel invested in that. So we're going to move forward now to our next topic, which is getting buyers off the fence with the current mortgage rate environment. So first things first, what we're really talking about, if we pull back a little bit, is our pipeline. And in many cases, very likely may be a busted and broken pipeline. And what we're talking about today is not ways to fix that busted and broken pipeline. And what I mean by that is trying to make people that you're already working with change their ideas, change their mentality, change their goals to fit this current market. If buyers' affordability is decreased, we need to adjust their searches and have conversations to adjust their expectations. We need to grow and add to this pipeline, not try and change the one we've already got. When you're having these conversations, don't forget to bring in concepts that they may not be thinking about when simply saying rates are too high. How much rent are you willing to add up each month and throw away at the end of the year? And for how long are you willing to do that? You can also mention the appreciation angle of this equation. It's going to be continuing to get more expensive from here on out. We have had the market correction that we're going to see for now. It was not the implosion, the crash that so many people forecasted, and now the market has turned up again. So with both rent being tossed in the garbage and prices getting more expensive in the near future, what are you going to do to get in the market eventually, if not now? By working on this strategy and then combining it with your new prospecting efforts to really focus on people who have either higher price points or higher motivation, meaning they really need to buy, it's just going to be a much better effort than wishing people you'd already been talking to would change their minds or trying to convince them of something that they've decided isn't really best for themselves and their families. Just like any lead in general, we really have to focus in on what's next. What's the real driving motivation getting them to have this real estate conversation with you? Are they having another kid? Are they outgrowing their home? Are they relocating? Do they physically need to be in a different place in the near future? Are they downsizing? Is the home just too much for them to handle these days? There's got to be something more motivating them to be willing to uproot their lives, put everything they own in a box, and move it into a new home. And of course, before all that happens, they're sitting in front of you having this conversation. So what is it we really need to dig in and get to that core motivation to help them move forward? It's the concept of peeling back the onion to really get at the core that I just mentioned. When you've got this rate objection, maybe act as though it wasn't there. Hey, if we had the perfect place for you at the right price right now, would you still want to move forward, or are those rates still going to be a block for you, right? If they are, I don't care if you found the perfect house in the perfect place at the perfect price, I just can't handle these rates, cool. Ask them, hey, we know it's dusty and crazy right now with rates. We don't quite know what's going to happen with the mortgage market or the housing market in general. Would you be interested when this dust settles and it looks like we have a better indication of which direction we're going to make a move at that point? Is it cool if I follow up with you at that point? Find out if they are a true buyer or if they're just kind of kicking around thinking of some other set of presets in the housing market is going to give them some kind of amazing deal. If that's the case and they're not really serious, your efforts are going to be much better spent on someone who's got true motivation and wants to move forward. Now, if that's not the case, then they're like, yeah, I just don't feel comfortable right now. I'd be happy to move forward when we've got a little bit of more favorable circumstances. Then we go back to the follow-up, right? Follow up appropriately. Don't let those things slip through the cracks, and you will be in front of that person when the time is right. When you actually want to engage deeper and try and overcome this objection, maybe you're not quite sure how strongly they feel about it yet, let's not forget the concept of groupthink and raise it up to them and ask them to give them your feedback on it. I mean, the whole general idea is that there are so many people out there saying the same thing. Rates are too high. We want to wait on the sidelines. We want to maybe get more serious when rates come down. Well, let's think about that groupthink. If everyone is saying the same thing, what's going to happen when those rates finally come down? There's going to be an insane increase in the amount of people moving into the housing market at that time because they've all been waiting for this trigger that's happening. And what's going to happen at that point? Obviously, the competition is going to go through the roof. Values are going to follow. These clients could very well be left out in the cold, renting for eternity. This is also a time where we really have to put our heads down and get creative. I mean, most of the perfect buyers that fit right into the mortgage lender's box and are, great to work with, they've either already taken action over the past few years or they're not going to do so right now. We may need to find different loan programs. We may need to negotiate creatively to assemble deals that might not come together otherwise. Creative negotiations, financing, and thought about ways to help people move from one place to another is going to be your best friend when it comes to creating deals that you may need to put a little effort into and that might be too time-consuming otherwise, but right now could be a fantastic client for you. On that same subject, figuring out a way to help maybe a first-time buyer shoehorn their way, even with these rates, into that nice place that's going to do the trick for them will be amazing because you've put all this time and effort into doing something that maybe normally you would pass on or refer out to someone else, but you're grinding it out, you're figuring out how to come up with a great deal for this client. They're going to be eternally grateful for you in the future because there will come a time soon when they have the opportunity to refer you business or even give you some repeat business, and they're not going to forget how hard you worked for them. Don't forget that becoming an expert on all loan programs is part of your job. I know you're not a lender, but we have to know what's going on outside of maybe our favorite lender or maybe our number 2 and 3 guy. Find out what's going on with the credit unions in your area. Are there 40-year terms you can get for your clients that would make that payment lower? Are there good ARMs that they can approve for that would make that introductory rate of a 3-year or a 5-year fixed period or even a 7-year fixed period significantly lower than what's being offered with a traditional 30-year rate? Are there really good short-term buy downs you can connect them with to help them get that lower rate up front and at least get in the market as things continue to get more expensive? I'll take the credit union as a great example. They often have loan products that your main man, your best lender, just might not have. Every credit union is different, and you can often find different types of strengths and weaknesses for the types of products they want to push the most. So if you can figure out who's got a great loan product to offer your first-time buyer or move-up buyer, you're going to be their hero for connecting them with someone that really made the difference and was a game changer in their affordability moving into this home. Get curious, get nosy, find out what you have to do, have access to these superior products so that you can offer them to your clients and you can both win. So that's it for the rate talk. We're going to move on to the future of Maui. What can we do to help them rebuild? The obvious choice, first and foremost, there's a ton of different great places you can send your money. They can use donations, of course. And what we want to do is be sensitive to what's going on the island right now. There are some memes, there are some rumors, there are some posts out there of people really being insensitive, making land grabs, trying to take advantage of this terrible circumstance for their own personal gain and profitability. And we don't want realtors having that rap. So if you know somebody who's got that mind, have a conversation. It may be a great move. It may be really helping the community, but just be careful that we're not going in there as land barons trying to take advantage of an opportunity and benefit from it down the road, it's kind of gross. So the idea is to invest in and help other parts of Maui as well, first and foremost. There's, other parts like Kihei and different parts of Maui that are going to be impacted by future tourism now that Lahaina's burned up and people aren't going to be going there, right? So let's help other parts of the island that may need some infrastructure. There's also a huge benefit happening. It's just tomorrow, so you may or may not be able to jump on it, but one of the top agents and contributors to the mastermind that we host every Monday has got a benefit going on for realtors specifically. It's going to be helping Maui agents and their families and the community in general. It's going to be a mastermind, and his goal is to raise between $10,000 and $20,000. Like I said, it's tomorrow, the 28th. If you can jump on there, you can pay attention, you will get some value, and then you'll also get an opportunity to maybe get some custom coaching, personalized one-on-one time, something to that effect, so that money will be actually donated to the fund, but you'll get something for it as well. It's a pretty cool thing that he's put together, so you should definitely check that out. Get in touch with people on Maui or the surrounding areas that can recommend with confidence which groups are going to be around and invested in the island, in the neighborhood, for the long run, as opposed to so much activity that's going to come and go right now. We know that when this news cycle moves through, things are going to get real quiet over there, and that's the last thing we want. We want this rebuild and repair effort to be long-standing and sustained to truly get Lahaina back to where it was, and so many of these things are going to come and go, and we don't want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of people who are invested in the community, looking to really rehabilitate the land, the buildings, the community to what it once was. Finally, don't cancel those trips. Keep your vacation scheduled. If you've got something going on, you're planning on going to Hawaii, especially Maui, keep it in place. They still need our tourist dollars. There are still lots of other amazing things to do on the island besides visit Old Lahaina, so keep those plans intact. Go be gracious, be kind, figure out how to make connections while you're there, and it will be the vacation of a lifetime. So that's all we got for you today. Building community relationships online with groups, both on social media and otherwise, helping buyers get off the fence with these rate scenarios that we're in right now, and of course, a little conversation about Maui and what we can do to help with the rebuild efforts. I hope this has been helpful as usual. I hope there's something that you can take and implement into your business today and not just fill your head full of helpful knowledge. And of course, as usual, feel free to reach out right here. I'd be happy to chat, answer any questions I possibly can. Talk to you soon.